technical knowledge obviously is a given, really, but for me, it's the personal service, and I know that sounds rather trite, and I don't do endorsements for, my wife will tell you I'm normally a very critical person when it comes to customer service. But we were discussing this in the car when we came down here, and I said, he's one of the few people that do deliver on the service promise. And I think, I mean, I could go on all day about the sort of things that Create have done, but it comes down to trust, and it comes down to that level of personal service you get out of them, where instead of saying to us, for example, well, here are some forms, go and get in the queue at Centrelink, they said, here are some forms, sign them, we'll go down to Centrelink, we'll sort all this out, and we didn't have to front to Centrelink at all. And for me, that is service, you know, it's good. I don't think you understand it until you come to the point where you're approaching retirement and you suddenly realise that it's a minefield of legislative and statutory things, and you don't even know where to start. You know you've got a certain number of assets, but you don't know the optimum way of distributing them. You don't know whether it should be in your wife's name, your name. You'd like to get a health card, but you don't know how. And I think that's when you start to realise, yeah, I could do some research here, but my chances of coming up with the correct result, and you wouldn't have any confidence that you got it right anyway. At the end of the day, you could come up with something, but there'd be that nagging feeling, am I missing out? Have I stuffed up? Have I got the thing wrong? And I think that's where the value comes in, that people like Create have got the computer modelling, and basically you give them the whole story and then they come back with a plan that's pretty damn good. You retire and you want to be able to enjoy life, and you don't want to have to face what the heck am I doing and so on, and worries. I'll give you another example of service from Create recently. Just in the last few weeks, I got a letter from the tax office saying that basically they thought I'd stuffed up 3 years ago in a tax return 3 years ago, and I'd exceeded certain limits. Frankly, I didn't understand what they were talking about, let alone know how to rectify it. I didn't know whether I'd stuffed up or somebody else had stuffed up or whatever. I flicked a copy of it to Simon and said, look, can you give me any advice? And not only did he give me advice, he just said, leave it with me, I'll get it sorted. He dealt with the superannuation fund, which turned out another superannuation fund I'd been with years ago. They had stuffed up and reported something to the ATO twice. But the thing is, he just dealt with the whole lot and finally came back to me and said, it's all sorted, here's what's happened, not a problem. And to me that was a tremendous load off your mind to know that, you know, I didn't have to do battle, because I wouldn't have known where to start.
You have a good relationship with Simon and feel comfortable with him.
I always say I like Simon because he does diagrams, and that sounds strange, but a lot of the other planners we've been to, they hit you with figures, they rabbit on. At the end of a half-hour session you come out going, I wish I understood what the heck that was about. Whereas with Simon, the very first time I went to him, he drew me diagrams with little boxes on, and I'm that sort of orientation where he's saying, you know, you've got money here and your money there, and they're going to go in that direction, and then at this particular date we're going to take that down there. And I got it, and I took that away with me, and for the first time I understood what was happening with my assets and how the money was going to flow and where our income was going to come from. And for me that worked.